There's so many videos on the internet, people talking about, you know, the everyday carry gear, the bug out bag, the weapons you need for the apocalypse. But I tell you what, survivalists and preppers are making this one crucial mistake about SHTF. You don't need a million guns. You don't need 3 to 5 in your loadout. And you're not going to be running through the countryside, clearing houses, looking for DayZ type gear. Uh, Now, I'm clearly not anti-gun, right? Like I've got mine with me, and I carry all the time. You see it in the videos, and we do need them for defensive situations. Like, so let me share mine before I get into more of this video. But I mean, I've had some close calls, but the one that the only time that I've had to shoot anything was we were camping out here and we had a dog come up growling, and it was like it was on. I knew it in my soul that like that dog was about to bite us, and sure enough, it was. So I can attest that like having a firearm kept me and the group of children and grown-ups like safe in that moment. And I don't want to dissuade anybody from not carrying a gun, but the truth is we don't need 80 pounds of kit. We don't need all this stuff. uh, but more importantly, we're not going to be it's not militia time to be running off into the woods and holding our guns at people to like take their resources. um, SHTF will look very similar to just another day. You'll be thirsty, you'll be hungry, you'll be needing clean water. And truthfully, throughout your life, like how many times have you actually needed a firearm? Um, Hopefully none. And like, you know, uh, it can't be that many, particularly in the society that we live in now. Um, and that's because like what idle hands is like the devil's playground or something. Like we all have a job, and shit hit the fan, you're gonna have a job too. uh, you're gonna need to purify your water, man the fire, uh, making traps, weaving cloth or brain tanning, clearing debris if you're looking at the situations in Western North Carolina right now, taking care of the elderly and children. Like, how does a gun help you in any of those situations? So it's much more important to be like squared away in our survival skills, the building of shelters, the and I talked to a guy just the other day saying the conditions were like far worse in Western North Carolina, and we're seeing like hypothermia set in on a lot of folks, particularly as like the weather changes, the power grid's not up. So, like, insulating your house, or insulating your debris hut or whatever it is, insulating your clothes. We talked about how to use debris as like um, an emergency like stuffing, and insulation for not having the right clothes. So like the things that happen every day that you require will continue to happen, and the chances of you needing a gun are slim, and the chances of you needing a whole fucking army are zero, right? Um, so even if you did have an army, right? Like how much training does it take to be 100% sure that you're gonna make it through a gunfight alive? And if you're not like doing room clearing every day, or like Filipino martial arts, or like all of these, and that doesn't even include like stalking and reconnaissance of your target. Um, like even the Navy SEALs lose people from time to time, and let's say they're or them and the Green Berets. They're the highest trained fighting force with all the technology that society can bring into a unit, and they still lose people. You think you as a dude, uh, whatever it is that you do, you're not Captain America, and I think people need that wake up call. Um, and I mean, I know I did. I definitely have like walked around with a rifle before, and I have like want to keep that stuff accessible. But like, what's more important? Um, uh, like you're gonna need your daily your Maslow's hierarchy of needs, and like a gun fits into none of them. Um, and certainly, again, not a whole military, not a whole militia. Uh, but what you need is a friend group. What we're even in like trapping and counter tracking, uh, you seek to wound an enemy in hopes it slows everybody else down. So if you're going through and like kicking indoors and being Billy Badass, like what are you? The people around you, should you get hurt, uh, you're just slowing them down. You're making them their mission harder, which is surviving at that point, right? And your community needs you. You think, are they going to waste resources to like bandage you up when people don't even have the medical skills, and like the hospitals are down. And ultimately, there's something inside us too that like when danger comes, like fight or flight. Most people, it should be, uh, flight first, because most people aren't fighting and they're not equipped to fighting. Anybody that's been in an MMA gym or a jiu-jitsu academy knows that like people on their first day aren't equipped to fight, and as the general rule, you're not winning against trained opponents. And there's levels to this. And accuracy by volume is a thing too. So if like you're one dude and everybody's mad at you, like look how Washington D.C. Uh, changed. And living in Baltimore when like the Beltway sniper was going around, everybody was on edge. Everybody was looking out, and everybody was like, ready to go to end that threat. So collectively, societies are like, and we do it all the time. We do it with like child predators. We do it with murderers. We do it with like uh, people selling drugs to kids. Like the community turns on those and they root them out because ultimately it's not somebody we feel our like safety and our like prime directive of spreading our genetic code and multiplying is threatened. So look at the response that like the Beltway sniper got. Everybody was looking for him. Everybody needed that threat eliminated. And if you're putting that red flag on your back, shit hit the fan won't be long for you. So, and the scientific results are clear, right? Like people in disaster scenarios, they don't like militarize up. They help each other and they seek to fill the gaps that everyone needs to make sure that people are taken care of. There's a medical study that I pulled up here. It says resilience after natural disasters, the process of harnessing resources in communities differentially exposed to a flood. So they examined a group in Eastern Europe. While that might not be the most easily equated to where you live, but the objective was this study examined how differentially affected communities harness their resources to adapt to the aftermath of a flood. We predicted that stronger individual, interpersonal, and community resources protected against psychological resource loss, and through that are related to fewer symptoms of post-traumatic stress and depression at, and higher life satisfaction. We also predicted that these effects would be stronger in a flooded community compared to a threatened but non-flooded community. So they studied these two groups. One municipality was severely flooded during the 2014 flood in southeast Europe, and then the other was threatened but not flooded. Interviews were conducted 1.5 years after disaster using the Connor-Davidson Resilience Scale 10-item version and the multidimensional scale of perceived social support, community resource scale, the psychological resource law scale, and the PTSD checklist from the DSM-5. The Center for Epidemiological Studies Depression Scale revised, and the Satisfaction with Life Scale. And the results are clear. Stronger individual, interpersonal, and community resources were found to be related to better post-disaster outcomes directly and indirectly through psychosocial resource loss. In the affected community, interpersonal resources and community social capital and engagement were stronger predictors of positive adaptation. In the comparison community, community economic development and trust in the community leadership were most important. This study proves evidence that people affected by disasters can harness their individual, interpersonal, and community resources to recover and adapt. Post-disaster interventions should aim to strengthen family and community ties, thus increasing the available social support and community connectedness. I'll drop the link to this study in the description for the video down at the end. But it just shows that, like, people in the affected community a year and a half later reported higher satisfaction with life, less depression, and all those things that we mentioned. So, like, if you think you're going to just be going through shooting, stealing, killing your way to victory, there's no victory there. So times are arguably good right now, and it's the time to build those connections into in your community in the times of disaster. This is what we specialize in, helping churches, schools, volunteer fire departments, moose lodges, masons, the Kiwanis, groups like that. These groups that are already in the communities, already doing great things, and they're actively looking for new members. Bottom line, you don't have to join a group. Just go out and make more friends. So start now. We teach the strategies of community building and having the highest quality produce in your own backyard. That's going to go significantly farther than being a Billy Badass or, a meal team sixer, as they're affectionately called sometimes. So if you have any questions, dump them in the comments. Thanks for watching this video. If you've made it this far, I know you have a passion for life and are serious about surviving whatever the universe throws at you. Drop us a like and make sure that you subscribe so you never miss a video. SustainableHomestead.com is the place to go for more information. Look through our resource library. Join our Homestead Mastermind meeting every Wednesday at 6:30, or catch all the recorded discussions, or schedule your own in-person survival trainings. As always, preparedness today means peace of mind tomorrow. So see you in the future. Stay ready.